Hello, everyone.
Hello
Welcome back, or welcome for
or
the first
welcome.
time. Yes. So you might. I'm a little nasally today. I had Mari-Lyn gave me a healing on Friday, and it kicked my ass.
Sorry.
It,
Sorry.
in a beautiful way, yes. So sometimes energy healing can. There is a real sickness that can come after
Yeah.
it. And it's your body opens up and releases toxins, not just physical ones, but emotional ones, mental ones, whatever we've been sort of holding on to forever. And again, no matter how much healing we do, Mari-Lyn and I have done a buttload.
Oh boy. We've done a lot.
Yes, it's still, spirit guides us to unlock little bits at a time. And I was ready for that big unlocking, and it did. So I ended up with this like head cold all weekend, and I can still feel it, but at least I can breathe today, which is nice. I had a headache. It felt like someone had shot an arrow through,
Yeah.
like right above my left eye back, and it was so painful and awful. And I just kept telling myself, "This is good. This is good. I'm releasing. I'm getting rid of." And then just today we did another little one before we turn this on, just to sort of, sometimes you need an extra little one. That's why I like to do follow-ups with people, because sometimes
Mhm.
in a few days you just kind of need a little tweaking, a little. Did that come out
Yep.
right? Okay. I'm not hearing well either. So ay, ay, ay. So thank you to my beautiful bestie over there for that beautiful healing, and then we'll follow up today. It was very nice.
I was like, 5%.
Yeah, well,
No.
thank you to your team. Thanks, Spirit. What we came up with today, I think we decided not to talk
Ooh.
about it, and we just turned on record to
Yep.
talk about what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to mute this so I can kind of blow my nose again. Sorry, everyone who's
Okay.
watching, but yes.
So what we're talking about today is living versus surviving.
Yes.
When we are in our wounding, um, we're really just surviving through life.
Yeah.
We're not generally we're not present. We live in the past a lot. We live in our wounding,
Oh,
uh, and we're not really living. We're just not.
and we don't always realize it. That's
I think
part of,
rarely
yeah.
we realize it when
That,
we're in it.
yeah. It's because there are things that are just so well, I'll share part of today's thing for me. And sorry again for the whole nasally thing. At least there's no headache anymore. So
That's a good thing.
I was always told from birth, I'm sure, that family is everything. Forgive family no matter what they do to you, no matter what atrocities. Forgive them because they're family. Because they're family. That was the reason. Because
Mhm.
they're family.
Because they're family.
I always fought against that because it never made sense to me. Well, I don't get, so I'm just supposed to this person doesn't have to apologize, or there's no talking, there's no anything, but I'm just to forgive them because they're family. On one hand, that never made sense to me, and I always sort of bucked that system. However, it seeped into who I am. That um it just did. Like, family is everything. And when I walked away from my family years ago, because I needed to find me. I could not do it still being in that family. I always prided myself, and I always said, and I may have said it on some other podcast, so some of you might go, I remember you saying that. I always held the door open, like in case they wanted to, if they wanted to come to me,
Mm-hmm.
apologize or talk, that's fine. I left it open. I realized today through this beautiful healing that by holding that door open, sort of having my foot in that door, keeping it open, that I was holding on to that sort of thread of you have to forgive them because you're family. So Spirit said, take you don't have to keep the door open, just don't lock it. And so I sort of am now seeing it sort of as this swinging door. If they want to come back, that's their choice. That's their life, their decisions. If
Mm-hmm.
they want to come walking through that door, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not seem like a lot to those of you listening, but keeping it propped open versus just letting it hang there and not lock it was huge for me. That was huge. Letting go of all that guilt and that shame. Oh my God, because we were shamed. So, which most families are.
Oh, most families are.
They shame you into behaving, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that feels really good. And that's where Mari-Lyn said to me about living, right?
Yeah. Because when Pam was in that dynamic of family, she was surviving.
Yes.
And by
Yeah.
putting herself first, she chose living.
Yes.
She chose healing.
Yes.
She chose to
Yes.
become present in her life
Yes.
and not only live in the present day, but also move forward and grow and expand as she moved forward.
Yes.
That little piece of her that kept that door open kept one foot in the past.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
I
Yes.
was,
Yes.
it is a little piece, but that one little piece makes a huge difference
Huge. Huge.
in our life.
That was me still surviving. That
Still
was
surviving.
me stuck in those old paradigms, the old patterns, and stuck in that false reality in many cases of what family is or what no, I had to let go of that. Yeah. And I've done
Yeah,
more butt tons of
a lot,
healing
a lot of
on,
healing, a lot.
on family stuff. And that was really wonderful to, and I'm still releasing at the moment. So I'm still not, I still don't have 100% clarity on everything yet. What's coming though is, and Mari-Lyn, you can certainly, every family has their dynamic. Every family has, gosh, so many of us are still just surviving. When you're stuck in that family
Yes.
dynamic and you haven't all healed together, you're still in that survival mode,
Yes.
right? Yeah. And
Yes.
that's and oh, okay, so what's coming now too is we also, some of us have left that family dynamic, the blood relative family, but we've created a new family with the same dynamic. Friend,
Ooh,
and yes.
yeah.
So we fool ourselves into thinking that I'm better because I'm not still there. And that's so, and I did that for years thinking about it. I did that for years. I went from this sibling dynamic to a friend dynamic that was very similar, but I could fool myself into thinking that it was healthier or whatever. And no, with
Ooh,
you it is, certainly, but it took me, I was over 50,
yeah.
50 actually.
I I I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Yes.
My relationship went to a booze bottle.
Right. Right. Okay. So would it be fair to say then, without healing, we find that same relationship somewhere because it's comfortable for us? It's
Yeah.
it's comfortable. Whatever your role was in the family, that's a comfortable role. Mine was scapegoat, doormat, stay quiet, be a people pleaser, all of that sort of thing. At the same time, I was trying to buck the system. So it was I had this crazy, woof, man, up and down craziness that happened, this total chaotic thing in my head
Right.
happening.
Um, I guess for me, I don't know. Um, because drinking just numbed me.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I think that would be okay. Well, so then if we look at that, so you still didn't deal with the family programming.
No, didn't have to think. You didn't even think about it.
No,
Didn't
right.
think about anything.
So you were still trying to get out of survival mode like I was, but we did it differently. Neither one of us was living.
No,
We were not
absolutely
living. Yes.
just surviving
Yep.
because it was too painful to look at.
Yes.
And now we grew up so totally
Yes.
differently.
Everything was different. The amount of siblings,
Totally different.
everything, just everything. Yeah.
And I mean, I had a pretty good childhood.
Right. Yes.
However,
Yeah.
we still get our ass handed to us. We
Yes.
still get wounded.
Yes.
We
We're
still get
supposed
trauma.
to.
Oh
Because
my
we're supposed
God.
to.
We totally lose our self-worth.
Oh.
Um, and couldn't look at it. And so, I just numbed.
Right.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. And how many times have we heard, sorry,
no.
how many times have we heard that from our clients? Well, I had a wonderful childhood.
Yep.
And and there are people who do have whatever that means to they had a wonderful
Absolutely.
childhood. They had caring, loving parents and
Yep.
siblings, and they did all
Yep.
the, they didn't have to want for anything. They had shelter and food and security and all of that. But they're still going to get programmed. And,
Yep.
and that reality hits them. They're like, oh, that doesn't take away the fact of all the wonderful things that happened in their childhood at all. Yes.
Not at all. And I think that's important. That programming
Mhm.
is part of the wounding.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
we've never talked about that before.
No.
I mean, we talk about, acquired beliefs and acquired thoughts,
Yep.
but that really comes from that programming of
Yes.
watching how, as children, watching how the adults in our life process information, process emotions,
Uh-huh.
or don't
Or
process
don't.
emotions.
Yes. Deal with their own programming and wounding and trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. Because none of us are free from wounding and
Right.
trauma.
No,
None
no.
of us.
There'd be no reason to be here. There'd be no reason to be here. We're on this planet to work through our shit, to work through some karma with other people, to work through the wounding, to evolve spiritually. That's why we're here. And some people have like really like something, horrible things happen within their community or with a neighbor or,
Mhm.
school, something like that. Like so it's not always necessarily like when we talk about family, that's the biggest part. But really, sometimes they really do I'm so inspired by that people have some wonderful things, have this wonderful family, yet other things happen to them, and it's the way the family handles it and takes care of it that sometimes can even be the wounding, or that's the programming.
Oh boy, yes.
I mean, there's all
Oh yes.
different ways this happens,
Yeah.
but it's meant to happen to us. It is
True.
all of
Yeah. Yeah. And so as we go through life and we
it.
are going through the motions,
Uh-huh. Yes.
um, find ourselves daydreaming more often than focusing.
Yep.
We are in survival mode.
Absolutely.
And, we don't know what we don't know. So
True that.
if you are hearing this and you're going, what?
The hell are these ladies
Oh,
talking about?
you know, it's okay because
Mhm.
we just don't know what we don't know.
Right. Yes.
And if you're hearing this for the first time and it's resonating and you're going, wow,
Yes.
I really am in survival mode.
Yes.
Congratulations,
Yes.
because
Woohoo.
now you get to move forward and you get to
Yes.
choose living.
Yes. There's another thing I want to say with that. If you're
Yeah.
sitting here listening to this and you're going, and you can see it in other people, but you can't see it in yourself,
Ooh, yeah.
give yourself some time, and
Yep.
it's going to look differently than everyone else.
Yep.
Everyone else. But that happens too. I think sometimes that will happen with me. I'll see it in somebody else and I'll think, wow,
Mhm.
that's gotta suck,
Yep.
whatever. And then a little while later, I'm like, oh,
Ew.
okay. But then I thank that
Yeah.
person, not always, I mean, if I can, I at least spiritually thank them for bringing that to my attention, because that was Spirit's way of getting around to you. So if you were led to this podcast, welcome, my friend. Spirit has
Yes.
put you here because there's something you need to hear and something that needs to be sort of shaken loose.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we just, talked about a few minutes ago, that survival piece can
Oh,
be a really small piece in our life.
yes.
Um, and it's, I mean, it can be completely overwhelming and taking over our life,
Yes. Yes.
and all the way down as we
Yes.
heal and grow and evolve.
Well, look, that piece that I just healed today, I did
Yeah.
not realize I was still stuck in that
No,
paradigm
not at all.
of family BS and survival mode.
Yeah.
But I certainly was,
And
am maybe still
there
working
was a
through it.
moment there where you really tried to beat yourself up over it.
I did.
And I had to say, Pam,
Yes.
you didn't know
Right.
until
This
until
is
the light
very
got
helpful.
shined on it.
Yes.
It was in the shadows
Yeah.
and you just didn't know.
And then I have done so much work on not beating myself up, healing that wounding,
Yes.
that when you said that, I was able to go, oh, that clarity came. And then I was able to let go of that too,
Yeah.
because of the healing.
Hmm. Now, could she choose to reach out and grab onto it again? She sure
Yeah.
could.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I bet you anything that if I see that happening, I'm going to say, Pam,
Yes, please. Yes, please. Please do that.
ew.
Gross.
Uh,
Yes, please.
do not anticipate that happening,
No.
but it does happen. And sometimes we do it without meaning to. We fall back into a habit. Um, and but we can't unknow what we already know.
Through that. Yes.
So when we take something back and we fall back into that old habit, you know, there's really a lot more to look at about why am I choosing to grab back some of this old behavior
Yes.
and go back into survival mode
Yes.
as opposed to being in the present and choosing living mode.
And I choose that. I choose it. I choose it. I choose it. Yes, please. I want to live, and I want to live in my energy on not, and I wanted to say on my own terms, but it's really not. That kind of sounds forced, and it's not forced. It's a very fluid sort of feeling,
Yes.
just be guided by spirit, just open to the possibilities. Just when you, when I just now, and this is certainly for everyone, but you let go of that old stuff and truly let go, not just say it. That's what, like, it's still running through me now. I'm not completely dislodged from it, would be a word.
Oh, I love that
Yes,
word.
that just came. Thank you, Spirit. Fred just said you're not dislodged from it yet.
I wrote it down.
Oh, thank you. But when you get dislodged from it, that's when you really can be in flow, and spirit can just sort of move you along like you're in this beautiful, just flowing with the energy. Yes, and living.
Yes.
I want to live.
Yes.
I don't want that one foot lodged in the door.
No, no, that brought a memory of, I also got a healing on Friday from Pam, and it was amazing and
We got
huge.
them actually at the very same time.
Yes, at the same time. Um, I was in an igloo, and Spirit
Yes.
was showing me how rigid I have been in my life and how I can still hold on to that. And
Yes.
what I heard was, ice is still water, allow it to melt and just flow.
Yes. That was so
That was
beautiful.
so huge for
Yes.
me. So
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Um,
And Mari-Lyn is a water element, double,
I
triple,
am
quadruple.
I'm a through and through. I am water.
Yes.
But that was so, in that moment, I allowed that igloo to just melt and the water
Yes.
flowed. I haven't felt that rigidness till this morning. It did come back this morning, but that's because something else came up. And thank you, Pam, for bringing clarity and allowing that release, because, oh man, you talk about huge.
Yes, that was huge. It was huge.
It was really huge. And now my choosing to live and to be living in the present just got opened up to a whole new
Yes.
experience for me.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I'm sort of remembering things. We've had many of people say to us what a beautiful relationship Mari-Lyn and I have, and absolutely. And they've also said, or they've sort of brought light to or talked about, Mari-Lyn and I do healing all the time. It's because we're both healers and we're friends and we're constantly healing each other. And they kind of poo-poo. It's like, well, I don't have that and I really want that. You can all have that if that's what you want. You really can, through healing yourself, learning to be a healer. And those of you who are meant to be healers, as you heal, you are becoming a healer. FYI.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And there is something really very beautiful about, yes, we all know I started out as Mari-Lyn's teacher, but I'm no longer that. We are teachery for each other, and we are students for each other, and we learn all the time. And every time we do all this healing together, it's this beautiful process, and we become not only healed ourselves, but stronger healers for other people. And
Absolutely.
it's just beautiful. And you can do that. And I would encourage you, if you are a healer, if you've had attunements, and attunements alone does not make you a healer, does not. But I would encourage you to find a group of people. This is all just coming. Someone out there needs to hear this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would encourage you to find your group of people. Some people, in the metaphysical course, like to say, find your tribe. But find that group of people that want to share in that way, that want to be there for each other. And you will find that person that you can do that with. For those of you who want that, not everyone wants that. And not
Right.
everyone is meant to be a healer. But healer is really a huge,
That's a huge.
whatever that is. That umbrella is big.
It is.
There are, now, not every reader is a healer. No, 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 no. But
No,
a good
agreed.
a good reader, like our dear friend Nan, she's a healer. She heals through her words. She heals through those readings.
Absolutely.
And of course, she's finally going to start doing more energy healing, which is amazing. Yay, go Nan. Um, Carissa is amazing as well.
Oh
Her,
my goodness.
you ask her a question, the answer that comes back is so, like, you literally have to sit there with it for a while, but it's healing. So really, healer comes in different forms. A therapist, good ones, they're not all created equal, as we all know. A good one is a healer as well.
Yes, absolutely.
As far as this energy healing, so if we go back to the metaphysical,
Yeah.
this energy healing thing, if you are a healer, you want to be a healer, whatever that is, I encourage you to sort of open yourself up to the possibilities of finding someone and join some groups or join, whatever it is. There are groups out there. And if it doesn't feel right, you just, oh, well, try another one, and you go
Yep.
for someone. There are lots of people out there looking for that kind of relationship, and they are out there. They really are. So
hmm
someone needed to hear that. And yes, what we have is amazing. And one of the reasons that Mari-Lyn and I evolves really quite quickly is because we have each other, and we're constantly healing each other and smacking each other with truth bombs. And it's pretty, but yeah,
Yeah.
and choose to live. Choose.
Choose to live. That's survival mode. Man, it gets
Oh,
old.
oh, so old.
It gets old. And when that what's coming is that roteness, right? And I said it a little while ago of just going through the motions,
Yes, yes,
almost robotic
yes.
of, you do the same thing every
Yep,
day.
yep,
You're uninspired,
yep,
you're bored, you're depressed, you're
yep,
angry,
yep.
you're in survival mode.
I was just, yep, survival mode. I could just see it, like, blinking. Survival
Yeah.
mode, survival mode. That's what survival mode is. That is not what spirit wants for us. That's not what our souls yearn to have and to be a hold of. Our souls do not yearn to
No,
be sad, and
no,
it's just no.
no. Our souls want us to see the light at the end
Oh,
of that tunnel. They want us to heal
and be a part of that light.
and be a part of it.
Yep.
Absolutely. By healing, not only are we um,
Mm-hmm.
bringing clarity to ourselves, but
Yes.
we're bringing clarity to what we witness in the world.
Yes.
When we heal ourselves and we let go of our traumas and our wounding, we're never healed fully. I mean, it's a lifelong thing, but
Not in
every time
life
we,
or not. Right.
yeah. But every time we heal, even the smallest bit, that clarity that comes through our life and also for what we witness around the world
Yes.
is so huge. And that's why we're here.
And as simple as this sounds, it's also very hard. Is that we really do need to choose love. We do need to choose love.
Very good point.
It is. It's just, it's love. And I'm going to bring this sort of, because what was coming in a little bit was, that we have a paranormal channel and we are paranormal mediums. Um, that can be part of our spiritual journey, is becoming an earthy, or what we call a ghost. becoming that,
Sure.
that is not choosing life, my friends. That is not, that's
No.
so sad. And so talk about hell on its own. That's a hell right there. And people choose that it is a choice to stay as an earthy. I
Right.
I don't know if I've met an earthy that wasn't just so scared to live. Those were not, you don't become an earthy from being a happy person who's living. You become an earthy because in life you chose to stay in that struggle. And
Because you lived in fear
yes,
and you were just surviving.
you were surviving. And the fear of misunderstanding what heaven is or those higher realms, and you chose to stay back. So, yikes. To me,
Yeah.
that's just the thought of being earthy is frightening. Like that's just that if there's anything that scares me, that
No,
would
no,
be.
no, no, no.
Yeah, and I know though it is my choice to be there or not be there. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that's, and sorry to bring the paranormal in here, but that is part of our journey
Why?
if we choose it. I know, because we
No
have a channel
apology.
for that. We know.
It's
Yeah,
part of it is part of the spiritual journey.
it is.
I mean, not for every person, but
Right.
it is part of spirituality,
Yes.
becoming an earthbound or a ghost because we don't go to the higher realms. I don't know how much more spiritual you can get than that right there,
Right.
really.
And talk about being survival mode. You go into an extra survival mode because people think ghosts are just little playthings that they can poke at and make fun of, or yeah, I mean, there's all those of you who know me with know
Yeah.
us with the paranormal.
Yeah.
Not good to leave an earthy just hanging around. It is a sad, sad place to be. Such a sad place to be, and I hate that it's become this thing where it's fun to live with the
Where
paranormal.
it's okay to torture people.
Yes, it's horrible. It's horrifying, and I don't want to get on my soapbox there, but that is certainly not living. That's surviving. That is surviving, and how awful is that?
So, you said that we really have to choose love.
Yep.
And for those people that don't understand what those earthbound spirits are,
Yes.
they're not choosing love. They are not living in love at all. They're living in fear. They're perpetuating fear. And I know you said you didn't want to get on your soapbox. So I'm going to get on mine.
Okay. I'll go
Um,
there with you.
perpetuating that fear
Yeah.
to a being that is already living in fear
Yes.
is abominable.
Yes. Now, what would you say? I mean, I know, but I'm going to pose this to you as if I don't know the answer to it.
Okay.
What would you say to those people that say, "Oh, but I love my earthy and she loves me and she stays around because it's so comforting and I'm nice to her and I say nice things to her, and what's wrong with that? I don't understand why keeping this old lady in my house who's a ghost is a bad thing. I don't understand. Tell me why that's a bad thing, Mari-Lyn."
Because you are keeping her from healing. You are keeping her from crossing into the higher realms of
Yes.
love
Um,
and healing, becoming whole,
I just want to say amen.
expanding,
Yeah.
evolving,
Yes.
and
And it's a false relationship, sister.
oh boy, it is a false relationship.
Mhm. You,
And
that person thinking that they are doing that ghost any good or themselves, that is not a real relationship.
no, it's not.
There's more surviving right there.
I was just going to say, talk about being in survival mode.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, that is
Connecting, connecting
choosing.
with sister,
Mm,
preach it. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
That is
Ugh.
wow, what just came was survival through fantasy.
Oh, yes. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
stomach just did a flip
yeah,
flop.
yes, yes. So When we as humans think that we have some relationship with a ghost, we are so shortchanging ourselves. We are staying in, and I know some of you are going to not like that I say this. Codependence. Codependence. You are majorly codependent.
Major
Major. I mean,
codependence, in
that's
fact.
talk about codependence. Holy
The epitome of codependence.
yes, because
Yes.
this ghost cannot give you what you deserve to have. They cannot, they do not have a full range of emotions. They do not have a full range of thought. They do not have, they don't have, so when you're in a physical body, you have that. When
Right.
you are, we no longer have that physical body and you're not in the higher realm. So you're stuck in this low vibration of fear. You are not that's not, they're there because in their world, they need, in that dimension, they need a human being to feed off of to keep their light. And they think losing that light is the scariest thing. Like that's their talk about survival. What they don't realize is they can poof into the light. They can, what is that word? Just sort of melt into,
Absorb.
absorb, thank you, into the light and go home and get healed and all of that. So you are keeping, so that's, it's a double thing. First of all, you are keeping that poor soul from truly being alive and healing
Yep.
and living a beautiful life. And you too are keeping yourself from doing that same thing. It's just such a sad talk about survival. That's yeah.
It is. It is
Woo wee.
yeah, very much survival. And when we live in that fantasy world,
Love that fantasy.
and whether it's, whether we're living a fantasy of having a relationship with an earthbound spirit,
Mm-hmm.
or we're living in a fantasy of what we want out of life,
Yes. Yes.
or we think we want, or we thought we should have had.
Yes. Yeah. So we've talked about forgiving what isn't, and that goes right in with this. So I just wanted to say that because I know that's where you were headed and I had to jump in there first.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Um, yeah, we're living in that fantasy world. We are in survival mode. We're not living. And the best way that we can get out of that is just what Pam said, is finding forgiveness for what isn't.
I am sure every one of you that's listening, including myself, including Mari-Lyn, so we're not taking ourselves out of this equation for sure. There's always that. Now, this is not the same thing as like dreaming or wishing upon a star. You have goals and you have aspirations. That's one thing. This is okay. I have these maybe crappy people in my life. And so in this fantasy world, I'm able to fix them and help them and get them to come around and to be kind to me and be that beautiful friend. That's the fantasy. That's the fantasy world. And we all do it in different ways, but we all have it.
Mm-hmm.
That was like me holding that door open for my family. I had this fantasy world that they were going to come in and we were going to, they were going to tell me what I needed to hear and we were going to heal together and do all these beautiful things. Letting that, taking my foot off the door, that doesn't say that's never going to happen, but that says, Pam, stop living in the fantasy world. Get to the reality is they're not knocking on that door. They're not coming. They have their life. And my reality is at the moment, well, Mari-Lyn is my sister. Mari-Lyn is my family. My husband is my family. My children, my grandson, that's my family. And the less time I spend in reality wishing that things would be different or, whatever, I can be in reality and give all of my energy to the people who deserve it. These people that I am so very grateful for. So really, getting yourself out of that fantasy world into the reality. Stop
Mhm.
just surviving. Stop hoping those things are going to happen. Get on with your life. Heal, fix, whatever verbiage you want to use.
Mhm.
Become the best version of yourself that you can be. And then if those people come by, they come by. And how wonderful. What a wonderful thing. But if they don't, you can't dwell on it. You can't stay back there in that survival mode.
Right.
So,
And the only way to do that is to do healing around it. We
yes.
have to do healing.
Mm,
We can't just
yes.
make up our mind and make it be so that, oh, I'm letting this go. Boop, gone.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
If
sorry.
only,
If
right?
only. Yes.
Doesn't work that way. Um,
So,
yeah. When I was in my active drinking,
mhm.
we remodeled our house. And I remodeled our house around a fantasy.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And through healing and forgiving what isn't,
Yes.
all of those wonderful things that we get to do when we heal.
Yeah.
Now I have an appreciation for my home for the way it is
Yeah.
and not the way I intended it to be.
Great. Yes.
Hmm. And it's hard to live in a reality when you have this fantasy running back here
Yeah.
and you are constantly, when you do that, you're constantly living in regret and
Oof.
anger,
Oof.
resentment.
Mm.
um
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yep.
nothing high vibrational about
Go.
those things, and it's really tearing at the soul when we're living in that kind of vibration, trying to survive.
Yes. And lying to
Yeah.
ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
going to say because here's something, because when, I know we don't know what we don't know, but I'll tell you what, when the truth hits you, you know it. So there
Yep.
is some level where you're living a lie. You're not living it.
Yes.
So when you say you don't know what you don't know, part of that is true. My humanness has sort of blocked that out or whatever, and I don't know
Mhm.
what I don't know.
Right.
Boy, when that truth hits you, you know.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's no going back.
Nope, nope,
There is no going back. You
nope,
cannot unknow a
no,
truth when it
no,
hits you.
no.
And if you choose not to do anything about it,
Yeah.
then you're choosing victim mode.
Yes. Yeah. And
Hmm.
you know what comes as we're talking about all this truth? Whoever they are, the yay,
Hey, Pam.
the big
They.
they. Um, it used to be such a beautiful thing to say, "This is my truth."
Mm.
But what that's become is so ugly that has become a way to lie, a way to not admit. It's become a way to not take.
I pass.
Oh, sister, yes, to not take responsibility for anything. To say, well, my truth is there is one truth. There is one truth, and our experience with that truth. The way that it started, though, was so beautiful. Was like, I want to stand in my truth, and that was just a way of saying, I want to stand in my honesty. I want to be honest with
Yes.
life. I want to be honest with who I am. I can't, I want to live. I no longer want yes, there's the tie-in. I was like, Fred, why are you bringing me this? That was the
Because
tie-in.
yes, I want to live, and I want to live unapologetically me.
Yes. Yes.
And that
Yes.
term was running through my head today, unapologetically me.
Yes.
And I thought, ooh, I want to be really careful when I say that, because when I say unapologetically me or unapologetically you, that
Uh-huh.
means in your highest vibration.
Yes. That does not mean stand in your indignance. And
Exactly.
yeah.
That does not mean it's okay to walk around in your anger,
Yes. Correct.
in your fear.
Nope, 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 nope.
in your victimhood,
Right.
because that's not who we are.
No, no, nope,
Um,
nope, nope.
and we've talked a little bit about this before, I think on other podcasts. Oh, that's just who they are.
Yes, we have done. Yes. Mhm.
No,
No.
being unapologetically yourself is the best version of you
Yes.
in that moment. And if we're being the best version, even if it's not very good on that moment, it's still of a high vibration.
Yes. It's still honest.
Honest.
Still honest.
Yeah.
And we all have our moments where, you know, reality gets the better of us, that our wounding, whatever it is, I'll still get pissed off or whatever it is.
Sure.
That's still part of me. And I do try to look, say, okay, what was that just made you angry? Was it worth what was that? Was
Right.
that disappointment or whatever it was? Let's get down to that, because I want to know that I did that in good faith, that it wasn't me, it wasn't coming from a place of wounding or trauma or something.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, you all know, you've been listening to these. I had post-traumatic stress for a long time, and I would have these episodes of explosions, and then everything that came with that, the forgetting and the just and then when you're raised in a family, there's that dynamic of abuse, so there's that abusive cycle, and okay, I'm going to blow up, but then I'm going to apologize and everything's going to be just that whole ickiness, and that's a whole nother podcast. But even that, if that happens, being
Mm-hmm.
unapologetically you sometimes
Mm-hmm.
means to truly apologize to yourself. Or to whoever you blew up at or did something to, but in a way that comes from a place of healing and truthfulness, and not the pattern of being abused, if that makes
Yes.
sense. Because there is that apology when you're in that cycle of abuse, there is a point where you apologize, and because it's to make everything be okay.
Right.
But I'm talking about a real apology, and you apologize to yourself, and you look at what's going on. Oh my God, that just came from trauma. That is total trauma right there.
Mm-hmm.
I need to heal something, and I come to you to truly apologize for that. And I am absolutely, you do not have to forgive me anything. This is for me. I'm coming for myself to apologize. You'll take it the way you take it, and I'm going to go get help, or I'm going to heal that, whatever. Not sure what that whole thing was, but somebody probably needed to hear that. Sometimes Fred brings stuff up for me to talk about. It's like, okay, I'll run with it.
Oh, I was going a little different angle
Oh, do tell.
on that. So, um, for me, in sorry,
Okay.
Spirit just said, "Why did you have to quantify that with a for me?" Funny.
um,
Uh, anyways, unapologetically being me,
mhm.
and what comes is like in sadness
Okay.
and being a victim in sadness. And well, the victim part isn't really who I am.
Right.
So if I'm sad and I'm walking through my day and just being mopey and sad and not really engaging with people, that's not being me.
No. No.
Being unapologetically me is still being engaging
Mhm.
and
Uh-huh.
honest, and even saying, wow, I am really sad today,
Yes.
I can't go there with you.
Right. Yes.
And not feeling guilty about it, not
Right.
beating myself up
Yeah.
over not being able to be available for somebody
Yes.
because I'm not in a good space.
You're right.
But that's how I am in the moment,
Yes.
and allowing myself to be human
Yes.
without beating myself up for not being able to be available to somebody.
And I'm going to add to that. If that somebody gets upset with you, that is not a friend. Hello. Not a friend
No,
whatsoever at all.
no.
No, it can be, and I get it. Like if you're in one of those moods and I'm in one of those moods and I need you, but you just can't be there. I'm always so grateful that you tell me that. And at the same time, I can be disappointed in that.
Sure.
However, I'm always going to say, okay, let's talk when it's the right time.
Hmm.
Yes. So,
Hmm.
and with that said, if you do it anyway, that's not fair to anyone. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. Like, if you, because we've all done that. We've all, well, I shouldn't say that. Those of us who have a little bit of codependence in our, our life, and that people pleasing, or they always have to be there.
What are you talking about,
And you're having a moment and someone else comes and wants to steal that moment or whatever, they have some, and then you drop what you're doing just to be with them. There's something there that's no bueno. You can take that time for yourself. And
ma'am?
yeah, so it doesn't do anyone any good to,
Mm-mm,
yeah. So
mm-mm.
whatever I was just gonna, yeah, yes. I'm getting a little woozy again, I think, from, yeah, this,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Woo!
Ooh,
So today's podcast, let's go back to it. What was the original thing?
living,
Living
living over surviving.
over surviving. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure everyone listening to this can identify with that because we all do it and all do it differently, but we
We
all
we
do it.
do.
How many times
Um,
do we dredge through our day because it's what is expected of us? That's a surviving thing too.
yep. And I'm not kidding myself to think that by choosing living that I'm not going to go through moments of survival mode, because
Oh, yep,
absolutely we will.
yep,
But it's when we are living in it day after day after day after day and we're not seeing it.
yep.
Um, and then something happens and we go, oh,
Mhm.
and we have that choice.
Yep.
We make that choice, hopefully, to choose living.
Yes.
And
You know what's coming to me now, and I'm not sure the why, but I don't think it really matters. If you are estranged from an old friend or something, and let's say pretty much it was your fault. Okay,
okay.
you did something, you walked away, you cut it off, whatever it is, and you finally come to that place where you make that realization and you feel guilty or something, and
Okay.
get your ass back over there and apologize. Do not
Ah,
do not expect that other person to forgive you or anything. Like what they do is what they do. That's their choice to heal, not heal, survive, whatever. This has been coming up so much lately. People,
hmm.
yes, with some of my with some clients, and I think I even watched a show where this happened too.
Oh, wow.
So the person did something to someone else, broke off, that the relationship is just done. They haven't spoken for a while or whatever
Hmm.
it is. And they're using the excuse, well, I'm embarrassed now to say anything. I can't say anything now. It's been too long. Or
Right.
no,
Bypassing.
no. Yeah, talking about bypassing.
Yeah.
No, no. Go
Um,
apologize to that person. Will it be embarrassing? Probably.
yeah,
Will that person accept the apology? Maybe not. But it
who
doesn't
knows?
do it for you. That is this whole, I think part of the culture now, certainly with phones and all the electronics and whatever, is the whole ghosting thing. Speaking of ghosts, the whole the whole ghosting thing, that is just rude and mean and unacceptable. Um, yeah. So anyway, again, that's come up a few times, and I guess what I've been asked is, where is that line? Like, so if you feel like you've done everything to talk to that person to try to get them to stop whatever behavior it is, and your only recourse was to just close that door and walk away, that's not the same thing as ghosting.
Not the same thing. Not at all the same thing. Right there,
Mm-hmm.
that is choosing to live.
Yes. Yes, it is.
That is making the choice to live when you make that choice to walk away from a relationship, any relationship
Yes.
that stands in the way of you being the best version of yourself.
Yes. Yes.
You're making the choice to live
Hmm.
as opposed to survive.
Okay, so now I know why that came up. This is
Mhm.
my shit. So we're gonna we'll just do a little healing conversation here, if you all care to listen, which you all probably do. I walked away from my siblings because I just wasn't being heard. I wasn't being listened to. The dynamic was such that there's nowhere to heal within that group. So I had to walk away to heal myself.
Mhm.
So some of them know that, and some of them don't care to know. I have a couple nieces who still speak to me, even though the family tells them not to. They are strong, fabulous women who say, no,
Yeah.
we love our Aunt Pam and we're going to speak to her. So they do, and they get shit for it for sure, but yay them.
Yes, definitely yay them.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So in that
And you
situation,
made the choice to live.
so that's where we just did this healing on it. That's
Yeah.
where this the guilt is starting to pile up again, or not pile up. I shouldn't say that. Creep in. The guilt is like knocking at the window, looking at me right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I need to. So that has to be old stuff, right? I mean,
Yes.
you tell me.
Yes. It is um all of the talking that we have been doing. There is a questioning of, did I do the right thing?
This
Did I do the right thing?
that old paradigm or
That yes,
programming, right?
absolutely. And you had even said that it was still running through you,
Yes.
and it can very easily snag on something
Sure.
and make us question.
Yeah.
Um, you, without doubt, you chose living over surviving.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And when we choose to live over survive, we are being unapologetically ourselves.
Yes, you're right.
And
Thank
there is no need to apologize to anybody when we do that.
you. Right. Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
what's coming is, even if the other person is hurt by it,
Mhm.
we do not need to apologize for choosing to live.
Yes, that's the piece I needed.
We do not need to apologize to
Yes.
choose to live over surviving.
Yeah. I choose
Yeah.
life. I choose life.
Yeah.
And going, so let's just say I gave into that guilt or the shame. from I can't change anyone else. I can't make them want to. I mean, they would accept me back. They would accept me back, but I would have to play by their rules, and those rules I don't. Yes. Yes, my friend.
They would accept the physical person back,
Yes, they want the old me though that went along with everything. That's what.
but to really be accepted back means that we are accepted for who we are,
Mhm.
and that we are allowed to unapologetically be who we are.
Yes. And I would, yes. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, I had to get out my fan to fan myself. When, for me, with healing, when a truth bomb hits me and I'm able to let go of old karma, contracts, ties, that sort of thing, I get my body I just get hot. I get really, really hot. So that's why I'm fanning myself, because yay, I'm excited about that, because that means I'm really letting go. Yes. I'm letting go of this stuff, and it needs to go. And again, thank you, Mari-Lyn. Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit.
Yeah.
We do not need to apologize for choosing life.
We don't, no.
And what's coming is, this is very true for people who are literal survivors.
Yes, yes, yes,
survivors of trauma,
yes,
survivors of an accident,
yes,
where we, where if you survived and maybe someone else didn't,
yes,
you do not have to apologize for choosing life.
yes, yes.
That
And
is a gift that you have given yourself
yes,
and have taken responsibility for, and there is no apology needed for that.
one reason I think that I don't think, I know that I love the spiritual journey, to accepting this spiritual journey, not just metaphysical and spiritual, they overlap, but they're not the same. But this is spiritual. That spiritual journey is that it gives me the whys. It answers those questions.
Yes.
And there's always a why, and the why is so, sometimes it's not very fun to get the why, but but in a situation like that, with if there's real life and death situation, like there is a survivor and they have that survivor's guilt.
Yep.
That person who died, they chose that exit point. They chose to go out at that time, had zero to do with you. Zero, zero, zero. So, and that's, I know that's really hard for some people. And and I don't mean to take that lightly. If there's someone listening who does have some survival guilt, please know that your path is to stay here, and their path, was done. They did everything they needed to do, and they chose that exit point, and it has zero to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. This can also be what's coming to, is in families where there's a lot of abuse. Like my family, I was the one, I got more abuse. Everyone was abused. You can't be in that situation and not suffer. But sometimes there will be, like, I was the scapegoat. I was that one. But sometimes you can look at it and think the abuse is not equal, and you feel guilty for that. You feel guilty that you're the one that didn't get abused as much as the other one, or whatever that is. That was a spiritual choice that was made. And please, start the process of letting go of that guilt and
Mhm.
why weren't you chosen and why were they? You hear that a lot, not in my case, but you hear that a lot with older siblings when the younger sibling, something happened or they were protecting that younger sibling, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And that older sibling feels really guilty and over not being able to protect them or save them or whatever that is. Please start that healing process. Everything really does happen for a reason. We really do choose the abuse that we're going to suffer when we're here. And there is always a reason. And spiritually, that person is exactly where they need to be on their path, as are you. And guilt is part of what you came to work through. Guilt is part of what you came to probably master. So
Yeah.
for whoever needs to hear that. I've been saying that a lot today. For whoever needs to hear that. But anyway,
So,
yeah.
well,
Woof. Yeah, this
this
is
sounds like a good place to wrap up.
okay. Sure. It's been a great one. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Glad you joined us. Very
yes.
grateful for you.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Ooh, sorry for that. I had to mute because I was coughing.
We again, we are very grateful that you have joined us, and
Thank you so
all
much.
of the information is below.
Yes.
All the
Yes.
websites and how to
Yes.
contact us. We
Yeah.
would love your comments on the YouTube channel, because I
Absolutely.
don't know that they can make comments other places.
I don't know. I don't think so. You can send us an email. We get emails.
That's true.
Yes.
True.
We
You can
get
find us
emails.
through the website at tcseverydaypsychics.com.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much for taking
Thanks.
this ride with us today. It was beautiful. We
It
appreciate
was a
you
good
so
one.
very much. All right. See you next
Till
time.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.